All right, good evening, everybody. Today is July 9th. It's the monthly meeting of the SBC committee. First item on the agenda would be updated floor plans, and that would be presented by Chris.
Yep. My camera on. All right,
Yes.
Jeff, do you want me to share the PowerPoint, or did you have it? Did you?
You can do it, Chris. You can walk through it. That way you can point.
Okay. Okay.
I have it available if you want, though.
Okay, I just need to pull it up. So. All right. Is that sharing the right thing? I don't know if it
On
is.
screen, you're sharing the preview screen.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that.
It said July 9th on it.
It is. He just
It was
you
just
the bigger
the
versions. You don't have to squint.
it was
Okay.
the presenter notes.
Ah.
You'd see all my notes, my trade secrets. All right. So we are busy updating all the plans. They kind of change a little. Nowadays, they're not changing as much daily. It's just more adding details and trying to make sure we capture all the scope. This plan, the most notable difference is the gym moving, the gym wall on this side moving inward. And so we've captured that now, and we're working through the details of that. And then other than that, I think the floor plan is largely the same, working through all the various program elements and making sure the stuff's in. And so the most work right now and changes that are happening right now are within the trades, just coordinating through all of the mechanical, electrical, plumbing scopes and fire protection, all that kind of stuff. And working through the various things that need to be in the schematic design drawings. Second floor here, same thing, gym moved in. You can start to see us layering in a few of the FF&E components, like science tables and things like that. And so overall, the plans are evolving nicely. I think we're making a lot of good progress on them. And this set of drawings, the next two drawings are layering in all the FF&E. So this is important because we're including in the FF&E budget. We included the FF&E budget, which I think was sent to you all last night. And that represents the drawing here. And so the FF&E budget is a little bit on the high side right now based on what we were carrying in other phases. But that's assumption that that we have all new equipment. We haven't really gone through the exercise of figuring out what can be saved and what what'll be salvaged and saved, and then what we're going to buy new as terms of a complete buyout. But the budget right now is, I think pretty good for where we are, and based on all the evidence and data that we have in terms of FF&E vendors, costs, and escalation that might be coming. And so we're doing that again on the second floor as well. And so all in all, this is kind of the phase of schematic design where the plans kind of settle down a little bit. They're not really changing that much, and most of the work is in details and other plans that we don't really show at building committees. But you will be getting a link to the set of documents that comes out next week for the cost estimate set, and we invite any and everybody to peruse those, take a look through them. If there's something, that is blatantly off, you make sure we know about it as soon as possible. But that's the set that the cost estimators will be getting next week.
So Chris, that would be the full bid set, is what you're saying.
Full estimate set, yeah.
Yeah. So Al and John, if you guys could take a peek through that, so that would be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There'll be probably a couple hundred sheets, I'm betting, and then outline specs that'll come with that. So, just put your eyes on it and help us make sure we got everything. So
It has all the
it's-
usual architectural, TBD and VIF on it, right? So you're gonna just basically disclaim everything.
It's Rich,
Yeah.
it's by others.
It's by others. You
That's
got to get a
right.
good finger point in, or else it doesn't count. Um, but nothing's by the owner. Actually, everything's by owner, right? But
Everything's
so
gone. So
there-
any questions on the floor plan before we go to site too? So, there was a lot of juggling of program, no real increases, but as Chris has noted, just tightening things up. We met with the technology user groups and we kind of juggled some of the science rooms on the second floor plan there. And I asked them to put the furniture layout in the meeting packet just so you guys get their spatial relationship of each room. And so if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. But everything's just tightening up along the way and getting ready for that pricing set.
Can you tell me on the second floor here, what's in the lower right?
this down here.
Yeah, right. So what's that?
So this is a roof below. So the first floor, let me go. The first floor has classrooms right
Yeah.
here.
Yes.
And the roof below right here, or the roof below creates a space where we could actually vertically expand. We're still trying to grab some scope in here because I want to make like a roof trellis so that you got to have the skeleton of the building already there, so that if you need to expand 2 more classrooms in the future, you can just build right there on top of that roof. Adds a little bit of expansion proofness there. And so that's really just a roof below right now.
So it's a 1-story edifice when we get done, and hopefully someday we might go 2, or how does it look?
Yep. It's 1 story now. In the plan, I think I'd like to have the layer of structure that supports the roof for the second floor. So come out above, it creates like a little trellis thing up there. And then that way your structure is pretty much all there. We can make that roof where you can walk out on it pretty easily with not a ton of extra cost. And so in the near term, you build this building, you would have sort of an outdoor space there that looks out over the fields. That's my goal. So I think that's going to get in there.
Okay.
for-
I mean, it's not only looking over the fields, it's right next to them.
Correct.
So it's
Yep.
right on top of them, actually.
Yeah.
So they're going to be bleachers for premium seating only.
Up there. Yeah.
We're gonna charge an entry fee. It's gonna pay for the addition.
Yeah. That's right.
Some Roof boxes that we're going to be selling to people. Okay, fine.
That's right.
Players'
Um,
parents get free admission.
That's right.
All right, you want to jump on to something else, Chris?
Yeah, and if there's no other questions on that, sorry. This is the updated site plan. This is based on the conversations we've had with the district and trying to maximize availability of parking over on this side. But then we shifted back to having the buses come through here and then out, and then some cars dropping off here. And I imagine you may end up with some cars pulling through here and then leaving out that way, just depending on how you want to manage the site. But they can all go out the same way that they go out right now. So this is the current updated site plan. A few things to know: we don't have the permeable asphalt on here anymore. We got the outdoor learning area in the courtyard going on. They made the connectivity for the sidewalks through here because we had heard in that last meeting that we needed to make sure there was a nice connectivity from the parking lots across to the field. And so that exists.
Yes, it might be easy to walk them through the colorized version.
Okay. Should be on this slide, but it's not showing up for some reason. Hang on one sec. It's just a missing link here.
Pressure, Chris. Pressure.
I know, right? Okay, I got it. Here we go.
And just walk them through when you bring that up, like the pickup and drop off changes, right? And then talk about what we think we can handle for
Oh,
the
yeah.
parent queue.
Yeah, so first of all, buses are coming through here. They come in, there's a bus lane that starts right here. To get buses broken off onto the side, and so the bus drop is here. The car loop comes across here, and you can get dedicated cars coming into this zone here, which there is a high school and a middle school entry. But there's also the ability to have cars come in and drop off in this lane here, which would allow some public entry here. Entry into the staging areas, which was identified as probably the cafeteria, but it also, this parking lot was expanded. You can start to see that here in this drawing where we're expanding it out a little bit more, getting a few more parking spaces. The team added this green spot in the middle. That was a conversation between civil and landscape and the stormwater strategies to help mitigate stormwater runoff. And add a little bit of green space into the parking lot, which I think planning board might like later when we go see them. And so, yeah, the parking down on the south, we added this big shed here. John sent us a list of needs for storage. And so there's a shed that we're adding on this end that's actually a sort of pre-engineered metal building. And then I said the pathways through here. So, yeah.
So drop off works out with this revised loop, and the buses work. I think ultimately we'll just want to verify, Chris, with the traffic engineers, how many parents could queue up right before we block the exit of the bus, right? And so that's just the only
Down here?
remaining open question. Yeah, right there,
Yeah.
would the tail of the parent pickup end up blocking that bus? And do we need like a don't block the box kind of hatching?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So I think there's ways around it, but and some of that's just self-police, but I just want the committee aware of that the school, maybe take some ownership if that's the way we're going, because we've kind of flipped this a few different ways. And I think this latest version responds to everything the committee's asked us, which is keep the right side of the screen available for all the community access, which makes sense. But it does kind of put a hardship on the pickup end of things, and we just might need to kind of crosshatch that zone where the buses exit to make sure we don't impede that flow. But otherwise, I think this responds to everything that has been asked and still works as a working model.
Jeff, I think the fire department, if I remember correctly from other buildings I've done, the fire department wants access to all sides of the building. Where at the very bottom of the screen where it's 23 spots, have they commented, can they make that turn? It just kind of looks a little funky.
The turn in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they are our auto turn, and we'll do the overlays and talk to them. But the auto turn analysis is they're proposing that the rigs, their equipment can get in. They would just have to back them out of here.
Okay.
There's no way to really turn them around. So if they get to here at the end, and then they have coverage on this side, usually if you have bits of a corner of a building or something like that, it's okay, especially when the building is fully sprinklered.
Yeah,
The chief was okay with the dead end, the two dead end sides, but to Al's point, at that point the lower parking lot was more of a straight shot versus that little cant. So Chris will just run the math and make sure it works, and if not, we'll have to adjust the mouth of that parking lot.
And I know I'm gonna sound like a broken record from last time, but if we could, next time you meet with the fire department, just make sure that where we have the 101 spots or 101 spots in the top right. Like I said last time, they use that for the med flight. I just want to make sure they're okay with that. That's all.
Yeah, we actually, when we were kicking this around with the team, that was one of the things I brought up, and they said that helicopters need like a 40-foot radius.
Yeah.
And you have more than that here in this
Right.
parking lot. And so it would, that's why when they put that green strip in, I was like, what about the helicopter guys? And they said, yeah, we can still accommodate it. So I think it, just so that it's clear to people reviewing, we might want to drop a dashed like helicopter symbol circle in there. Just so it's like shown on a plan, even though it wouldn't be striped that way, but we can show it so people can understand it.
All right.
So I think that's what we had in terms of updates, and everything on our end is.
I'm sorry, Chris, before you leave the slide, Jim, did
Yeah.
you want to ask anything about that?
Yeah, I mean, this slide to me is really a critical one at this point. If somebody were to go over there and try to figure out where this is, that's somebody being me. I take the plan, I look around, and I think it's time for us to stake this out so we can at least get a sense of where this is going to be, because this lower right-hand corner, which is like right next to the catcher, the home plate, right, is a big, whatever number, 20-foot building right along the corridor there. And I think it's important for people to really understand where this is going to be. I'm not against it or for it. I just think there's a lot of stuff that there's a couple of trees, there's a monument there as well. There's an entrance to the field. I think we need to get a better sense of where this is actually going to be. And I don't mean every 2 feet, just basically where is this new building, this new addition going to sit? Because it's going to be a dramatic change, and it's going to be right, as we know, we've all known all along, it's right abutting the fields. I know that, but it's really tight there. And I just get a better sense of what it would look like if we could stake it out a little bit. I also feel as though when we show this thing, I mean, the fields are part of the site. The fact that we're not touching them is unfortunate in my view, but nevertheless, they're part of the site. So I don't know how you kind of show that they're going to, I guess this says they're staying where they are in the condition that they're in, but somehow, ultimately, people have to understand that when we go to present this to the community, what's left here is substantially renovated or added to building and fields that are just sitting the way they always have sat.
That,
Right.
And that's the
Chris.
intent of the way it's presented here, right? To show you that it's a photorealistic background, but it's not the coloring is only supposed to speak to the areas we're touching, right? So that it
I
can
got
try-
that. I understand that. And I wouldn't change this, but I would have another one at the end that's maybe not for this committee, but for us to say to the community, this is what it's going to look like when we're done. This is what's changing, and this is what's not changing.
that pathway that goes right past the backstop, is that like, what is that? Is that like 5 feet?
No, it's probably more like 8 or 10.
All right, 8 or 10 feet to skinny up and get past that. My question is, what are the elevations? Is the school sitting up higher? So you're looking down? Are they level? What is that? I
It's
couldn't read
the
numbers.
school. The school is a little bit higher.
Just a
You
little,
can see.
Okay.
Sorry. You can see some stairs right here.
Yeah.
Chris,
They come out.
is that
Well,
only a
you
5-foot
maintain
sidewalk?
it.
Because it shows the sidewalk going right up against the retaining wall. So it does scale more like 6 or 7 feet.
Yeah,
just-
I think it's
I
5
was-
feet. But
It's not 5. I was basing it off the size of a parking spot, so it's not wide. But I don't know what else we can do because it's the
No, I'm not,
building's-
we're not questioning. We just want to
Yeah.
know what it is, and people have to know that that's what it is. So how
Mhm.
many steps is that? You said there was a staircase. How many steps?
Hang on.
Okay. I'm just curious on what it's going to look like.
7 flights maybe, or
Yeah,
That's
like
all.
right now, you know, if you're at the parking lot and you go down to the baseball field, you come down that hill,
You do, yep.
right? So is there a retaining wall that keeps that walkway up level with the parking lot? Or does that ramp down, right?
It-
That we
It's
had-
ramping.
down
It's
to-
ramping. It's ramping down. The finished floor is about 174.5.
Yeah.
And the bottom of those stairs is 172.1. So it's about 2.5 feet.
Okay.
drop.
2.5 feet, okay. 2.5 foot difference. So is it a retaining wall necessary, or are you just gonna slope
Yeah.
it?
It is on that end because it continues to kind of come down. So then the top of walls 174, ish. And then the bottom of the wall on the baseball field side is 169. So it's about a
That's
about a
Yeah,
5 foot wall.
That W shape there, what kind of looks like a flattened W, is the retaining wall. So it kind of
okay.
starts
Yeah.
out, goes north right by the edge of the building, and then goes, east again and then north again. Yeah, wherever Chris is. So that's a retaining wall there that you see.
Okay.
And the bottom of it on the baseball field side is about 5 feet lower than the top on the
Yeah, so that's when it's at its biggest differential. So 5 feet vertical.
Okay. Is it possible for you guys to send me or anybody, whoever cares, a PDF that's sort of like high def so I can read some of these numbers?
Yeah.
Good idea.
Because you can't, I know it's a PDF and, it's hard and for everybody, it's probably okay, but I'd like to be able to see that and then I can know what I'm talking about.
You bet. We'll send it
All right.
over.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'd like to just come back to my comment. I wasn't intended that we're going to change the design. This design has been worked on by this group, for years or more. And it's the best way we can put this new building and the renovated building on the site. It's important for us at this stage of the game to try and make sure people understand exactly what it is. Because we're going to get some pushback, as you know, with respect to the fields and whatnot. So the sooner we get it sort of nailed and what we're going to do about it, the better off we are. Because you're looking at this, if you go over there, there's going to be a 2-story building, whatever it is, 2 or 3, 20 or 30 feet from home plate. And I don't want people to wake up one day and say, oh my goodness, it's very good, it's right on top of it. They should know sooner rather than later, and why it's the best idea for the site and for the community.
And Jim, to your point, there is that memorial stone, and obviously we'll have to make sure that, anything that is there will need to relocate. I don't know if the trees, I'm not sure on the trees if they were specifically planted or whatever. I mean, it gets to a point where we can't dig them and replant them because they don't have, spades big
Well,
enough
they're
to-
huge trees. They're just going to go. I mean,
Yeah.
what do I know? But there's no way they're going to be retained as far as I can determine. But
Do we have a salvage list of stuff that we want to make, like that stone? Is there anything in the school plaques or anything?
Well, they'll go
like that?
through that in design phase. Right now,
Okay.
we're just
Yeah.
getting estimating, but for, to the point that Jim had brought up, we know we have some exterior that we need to at least throw something in the budget for.
Okay.
So I think previously we had brought up the idea of staking it out, and that was voted not to proceed, I believe. Is that
Correct.
right?
that's
Yeah.
right.
So
If you
Jim,
send me a drawing with some dimensions, I'll go put a stake in the ground for Jim. I'll get 100-foot tape and I'll
That's
ask
what I said, but you
I'll
can't
ask
read the
Rich
numbers.
and Ellen to meet me down there, and one of you
Okay.
I'll bring my,
bring a cooler.
my
bring a
walking
cooler?
tape.
Just
Oh.
we'll send you some stuff there.
All right.
So
You're
Yeah, but I
on.
mean, I guess that I understand we brought it up before and nobody thought it was a good idea except maybe me, but I still think it's a good idea. And it's not, I'm not just the audience of one here. At some point, people have to understand before we present them with this program, exactly how it's gonna fit on this site.
sure, agreed.
Chris, I have a suggestion.
Okay.
A rendering with color other than just green might help everybody understand where the fields are, where the building is, existing and new.
Diane,
mean-
you're asking on that one, you would be saying, hey, if you were standing on the baseball field and looking at the backstop in the school, how would that look? Is that what you're saying?
Well, this layout that Chris has is from above. You could have one at ground level. We have
Elevation,
some.
elevations.
We
Correct.
have some, but I'm just thinking that if you were able to add more color to the areas that are not colorized for obvious reasons, it would help people visualize.
But what I was saying, Diane, is something different. Is I understand what you're saying, but I'm thinking if he could do an elevation, meaning that you're standing on the baseball field and you're
Yep.
looking at the school, I think that might be more effective. You could do that in SketchUp, Chris, right? Or whatever you use.
Yeah, we don't use SketchUp, but yeah, we typically will do those once the cost estimate set goes out and we're working towards the town meeting vote.
Okay.
But our focus right now is not on visualization, graphics, and stuff like that. It's about getting scope in the drawings for an
No,
accurate
that's fine.
estimate. So yeah, our run up to town meeting usually includes those kinds of things, and animations and compelling visualization efforts that help people understand what they're getting.
Fair enough.
Reasonable, I think. Thank you.
So the takeaway on this is that going back to the stake is does the committee think that it's worthwhile to have, maybe even if we did a single stake at the furthest point put in, just so that everyone could take a look at it? What's the take on that from Jim? I know you're a yes.
Well, yeah, I could negotiate for 2 stakes. That'd be great, but I'll take 1. I
Would
just
that-
think it's important.
No, I get it. I don't disagree. Chris and Jeff, what would it take to get a single stake put out there?
A hammer.
No.
Send me a drawing with.
Take
tape
Al to
and
volunteer
get
and
it
walk
out.
over. I mean, like, we gave you guys the rate of a surveyor. It's a day rate for them. That's why it was $1,900. It was $1,980, whatever.
Listen, we're not kidding. We can
No,
sink
well,
that
I'll,
stake
I'll,
if you,
I'll go down there and put the stake in the ground. I'm
if
not
you
gonna-
get me a plan that we can read, we
Yeah.
can do it.
No, and that's fine.
I vote that Al does it with Alan.
That's
Would that
fine. We can
stake be
do it.
on the other side of the current backstop? Would it be on like the playing side? Because the
Yeah, we're on the
current,
playing side of the backstop. Yes.
because there's still like Babe Ruth teams play there, and so if there's a stake there, it's gonna get taken out when they have a game.
Yeah, I mean, it's stake, and you guys can also use spray paint,
Yeah,
I mean, at
like
the end of the
put a
day.
dot
And
there or
as well as the
something.
other 2 corners, you can spray paint the parking lot where you think where the building will go in the existing parking lot, right? On the
All right.
left
Hey,
side.
so what I think the best thing is Chris, we'll between Al and myself, and if John wants to hang the tape out too, we can give you, if you can give us a couple of points off the corner of the building, we can drag it out and put in some stakes.
You got it. Give it to
Sounds-
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, with that, was there any other questions on the site plan from the group? All right, good. All right, our next item would be the furniture, is what it came up on the agenda.
Yeah, so as Chris alluded to, they've done a takeoff of all the furniture in the building, and so the first 3 sheets are a summary of that, and then sheets 4 and 5 are the typical classroom here, and basically what a typical classroom kind of breaks out to is, I'll zoom in and stop making you dizzy in a second here. Here we go. A typical classroom, has a teacher desk, teacher chair, a mobile lectern, a file cabinet, and then student desks make up the majority of it. One of them being accessible essentially, and then student chairs. So on average, it's about $11,000 in today's pricing, for a typical classroom. And now this will all be bid out, 4 years from now as you're going to open the new building, and you'll get many competitive bids. You can also pick alternate pricing. But that's done on a classroom by classroom basis. Similar thing for the science room. Science room notes that the science room tables and the demo table are all in the base bid number, so that's in the construction number. So that's why those classrooms come in less, because you're not buying the tables in this group, you're buying it in a small group. Typical resource room and a typical small group room. That all rolls up to a higher level, and so I'm just really going to focus here on the small part, because the bottom line really, because you have the rest. The today's pricing kind of all rolls up to that, $1,350,000 for, if you were to buy all new furnishings in the building. The design team has carried a 40% design and pricing and contingency, and that's that, you can't control the market. It will go up 4 years from now, so there's that level of escalation. There's also, we haven't had the conversation with the committee about what the right levels are, and then things may change down the road. So, they've put a hefty escalation there, but they feel that's the right number. What that all means net net is about $1,900,000 in FF&E. Now that's before we do all the reuse. And so, that process is happening in the background. We're going to work with the school department to figure out what they can salvage. I know certainly they've mentioned already that the middle school has some desks and chairs that may be able to be taken off that. For perspective, a year ago, and I know we were not sure the project was going forward or not, we were taking kind of a modest approach to the overall total project budget. I had put together a placeholder of $2,000 per student, which is the metric that we kind of follow through with. The MSBA reimburses up to $1,200 per student. That's the number they came up with back in 2008, and they've never changed it. So even though the metric keeps going up and the market keeps going up, the MSBA holds their line at $1,200 per student. And so that doesn't hold anymore. And so right now that's coming in at about $3,000 per student. So it's about a third over that before we start to take off all those reuse. So when we meet again in the beginning of August, we'll have a number for what we think the reuse can be. And then the committee will need to give direction on what's the right number to carry when we look at all the contingencies throughout the project and what we're carrying for the total project budget. Any questions on that aspect?
Is there some indication now, what we think, Superintendent Bobby, is it half of it still good? Is a third of it? Should we throw it all out? What's your take without committing to anything?
Yeah, we have got some new furniture in recent years. I can't give you a number like a third or anything like that, but we have been able to acquire some flexible furniture that so we'll be able to reuse quite a bit.
So it's not like we're stuck with 30-year-old furniture throughout the building. We've got some flexibility.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Similar question will happen at the next meeting. We have the technology equipment. We've had meetings with the users. I haven't seen, we don't have the numbers back yet, but when we get to that point, we'll talk about what that number is, and then the modest number we carried, 6 months ago for that budget and kind of how they relate, and then talk to the committee about what the right number is to carry, the ups and downs of where we were to where we are.
Great. So the next item was the final site plan, which we've actually seen. Was there another review of that, Jeff, or is that?
No, that's it. And, really that's kind of it for tonight's agenda. It's really, once we start pricing everything, it's obviously, we're narrowing, right? We're at the narrow phase where the numbers are going to come back in. We're going to present them to you. If there are things that you want us to price as alternates, that would be good to know now, because right now we're going out to pricing next week. So, it's easier to kind of break out a cost ahead of time if we know what alternates are being looked at versus trying to, claw that out of the details of the estimate once the numbers come back the first week of August. So if there was anything else in there that we need to isolate, it's just good to know that now. Otherwise, I think we have the appropriate feedback from the committee. But speak now or forever hold your peace.
Right, and Jeff and I had talked about this earlier, because basically right now we're gonna lock everything in to, this is the bag of money that we're gonna carry. So, if you guys said, hey, we want to have an outdoor bench for quiet, peaceful thinking, now's the time to ask, because after that we'll have to take away from something else. So. All right, well, good. Was there any other questions from the group while Chris and Vertex are here?
Rich, I have a quick question. When we were in the library room, I think we were discussing emergency exits from the new gym, and that one would have to go through the middle school wing. Did we flush out how that will be kept secure while having public going through there?
Good question.
Yeah, let me.
Take that, or so there's now the emergency exits have now been. Do you want me to share? You got it.
I got it. Here we go.
So the answer is we've shifted the parking back to the other side of the site, we're going to call the community side of the site. So now there's 2 emergency exits facing that parking lot, and these storage rooms that were on there have now shifted to the other side, to the building side, if you will. So that's how we've resolved that, Shayna.
And then
Okay, thank you.
And then the doors here are egress out this way, if you will, like towards the main building. And so if someone were to try to come down this way, they would encounter a door that's not an egress door to go out. So,
Okay, thank you.
All right, good. Well, that's a good question. So if there's nothing else, then I think we can move on to the next item, which would be invoices. And Chris, unless you want to hear us pay bills, you're welcome to go.
Rich.
All right, good, thanks.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, first invoice.
So we have Vertex up there. Can you read the number, Rich?
I printed it this time so I could read it.
Good idea.
I just have to get to the right page. All right, so, I make a motion that we approve the amount of $22,812.25 for Vertex for professional services for the month of June.
Second?
All right, motion's been made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, great, passed unanimously. And next item, yep, okay, this one actually I'll get off the computer. Next item would be for Tappy Architects for work done in the month of June for the amount of $52,500.
Second?
All right, yes, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, passed unanimously. All right, and the next item would be the meeting minutes. So I make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes for the month of May as written.
Second.
All right,
They were
motion,
from our 6/18 meeting, just to clarify. But
sorry, 6/18 meeting. Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, pass unanimously. All right, great. I think the next item would be, all our meetings are set, so we should be good with that. And when, can remind us what our next meeting is?
next meeting is August 13th at
Okay.
7.
All right, so that one, they'll have some more budgetary things back for us for that, so if everyone could make sure that they try to attend, that would be great, so.
Yes, that would be the meeting where you're making the final decisions on cost, and then obviously we'll take any comments there and then churn it through one last time for any tweaks or modifications, and then you'd be making your final votes, and then we'll head out to the other groups in town to collect their votes of support as well.
Could I ask Rich that we ask our friends to send it out a little in advance, not the night before?
Yes,
No
no, that-
criticism intended, but
yeah, I've asked
would
them.
be
to,
nice.
We've asked them to try to get that out a little earlier. I've already had that conversation once or twice, so yes, that would be good to get it a little earlier.
Hey, I
Yeah,
have a
so
quick-
the numbers are due back and we're reconciling on Friday the 6th. And then I'd get best and final from the estimators on Monday. So I'm going to try my best, Jim, to get you everything, but we'll get it to you at least 2 days in advance. And then maybe in draft form, but you'll have the numbers there. So
I have a quick question. Kim, you said the next meeting's the 13th. Is
Yeah.
there also one the 20th and then another one the 25th?
yes,
yes.
Okay, are they just Zoom meetings?
yes.
The last one's up to you. So the meeting on the 13th is we're going to present all the numbers, the technology budget, the update on the FF&E budget, all the cost estimates, and the total project budget. So you'll see all the contingencies, you'll make all the financial decisions. The meeting on the 20th is to then confirm the final decision related financially to the project, and we will also start to have the draft of the report itself.
Okay,
The meeting on the 25th was intended to be I'll use the word tri-board meeting, although you guys might not use that term, but
yeah,
collecting the support votes for the school committee and the select board. And so that
Okay.
meeting may want to be either those two meetings hosting it and we're presenting, or it's a tri-board meeting, or it's all virtual or all in person. That's up to this committee how you want to do that, or the chair. That's the only one that needs to be kind of locked in. The other
Yeah,
two are.
Ellen, I think on that one, Ellen, if
Yeah.
you guys at your next meeting, if you could kick that date around and see if that works, because I do think it makes sense to have everybody all in the same room at the same time.
Okay,
for that
sounds
one.
good.
Great. All right, great. Well, that sounds great. Thank you, everyone.
Rich, could I just,
Go ahead.
I don't have to look it up myself. When's our next forum scheduled for?
After the vote,
So sometime in September.
yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, great. All right, good. Well, thanks, everybody, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank-
Good night.
Thanks, everybody.